Now, a former jackaroo that has helped more than 1,000 children reconnect with their education, training, families and communities, has been awarded this year's Local Hero Award. Joining me live now is youth advocate and BackTrack Youth Works program founder, Bernie Shakeshaft. Welcome, Bernie. Thanks for getting up early for us. Congratulations, first up. This is a real honour.
Terrific. Really appreciate you having us on this morning.
Tell us a bit about BackTrack rather.
Yeah, look, we're an organisation. We started off as a bunch of volunteers in 2006, and we're working with kids that are slipped through the cracks, I guess. They've run out of options. So a lot of kids in trouble with the law, often kicked out of school entirely, kind of bleak futures for them. So they're the kids that we scoop up. We've got a program where we take kids out of town on weekends with dogs. We keep about 30 working dogs. We've got a classroom, and if school's not working out for these kids, then what we do is give them practical skills. So, we do a lot of different things. One of our favourites that's come well into play at the moment is a lot of the boys have been trained as RFS firefighters. So we've been, since September, out working on the fires. And I guess the thing is designed to re-engage these kids in community. And let's have a look at the good side of them rather than the tough stuff.
Must be enormously rewarding when you see a child's life, a teenager's life turned around.
Yeah, and look, over and over. We've got an extraordinary track record of getting young people into full-time jobs or back into full-time education and training. Something like 87% of those kids get into those jobs. We've got crime stats, juvenile crime stats plummeting in Armidale, and now is the time to go on. We want to get this going, in any town that wants it around Australia. The model works. We know that it works. The research says it. And without the research, we get to see it each day.
What's your message to those people that easily say, oh, he or she, just a bad egg?
Look, I don't know if I've ever met a kid that was born as a bad egg. Things often happen to them that are beyond their circumstances. I think a little bit of empathy and putting the right things in place, but everybody wins. When we get it right at BackTrack, the community is a safer place to be. Locking kids up has been shown over and over not to work, let alone the extraordinary financial cost of it. The latest figures to come out of Victoria talk about $470,000 to keep a kid in juvenile detention, and we know when they come back out, often the case is, that they go back in. Then they head for a life of welfare dependency. There's lots of stuff that goes on that is not much use to us as a society. So we turn that stuff around, and it's a rare day you can find someone complain about all the benefits of what we're doing.
Everyone clings to professions like jackaroo when they're talking about someone's pathway to somewhere. Obviously you were, but what else? Can you tell us a bit more about your story that brought you to here?
Yeah, look, I had a loving, caring family, but school wasn't the place. That's not where I did my learning. So I was pretty wild as a young fellow myself. If school's not working out for you and you seem to be forced into this corner to be seen to be dumb, I guess, then being bad is way safer than being dumb. So it wasn't probably until I hit the Snowy Mountains and then the Northern Territory where the real learning started for me. I spent a lot of time with Indigenous people out in Central Australia, and just the learning, the stuff that they were doing was extraordinary to me, the tracks and how to handle wild animals and dogs and being wild. So I just needed that little patch of time to go and be wild, but I can empathise with a lot of the kids' stories coming through, We've got a bit of a crisis developing in Australia. There was a report came out in 2014 that estimated 1 in 5 kids under the age of 17 don't go to school, don't have a job, or are engaged in no form of training. What do we think's going to happen if we can't educate kids? We know the power of education, and when there are things going on in young people's lives that are out of their control, somebody has to pull this up, take the reins and do something different. And that's going to be my task this year.
It's great. It's great that you've got the voice, you've got the platform now, haven't you, to push exactly the message that you not only want to say to the wider community and the government, but also to young people.
Absolutely. You know, there are options out there, and you know, the amount of private funding we get, and the growing band average Aussie punters that are making this possible for us with small donations on regular things is it's quite overwhelming, really. And then to talk to the Prime Minister yesterday, I know that we'll be having future conversations, and you know, we've been waiting a long time. We know that we've got the method and the techniques, and you know, the runs on the board. Now we want to work closely with government and see if we can expand this stuff and get it into even more towns.
Congratulations, Bernie. Well done on the work up to this point, and all the very, very best, and award well deserved.
Really appreciate you taking the time and showing the interest. Good on you.